Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Year of the Batman. Today's The Batman episode is Traction, and it's it's so the DVD and the release date are kind of different of how the episodes are. Um, so we're technically on the third episode, but I'm not doing the release where I'm just doing whatever the DVD said. I don't care. I don't think it matters, honestly. But it's weird. The second episode is Traction, and it has Bane as the bad guy, which I'm like, Bane is such an iconic and like intense villain. It's so weird to have him be the second guy in the Batman's Rogues Gallery that you see. I mean, it kind of makes sense to have Joker be the first one because that's Batman's like most popular villain. But like for example, Batman the animated series, we didn't see him till way later on, and it felt right because like Batman had developed himself as like such a threat to Gotham, and like he's taken down villains after villains after villains, and then when Bane makes an appearance, he is a fucking force to be reckoned with. And don't get me wrong, this one was as well, but it seems too soon. Um, so anyway, it starts off the opening credit thing. Some gang leaders are all getting together and they agree to pitch in to pay a mercenary to take down the Batman, and that mercenary happens to be Bane. Um, his appearance, it's a lot like uh, the anime or the new adventures of Batman and Robin, a lot of leather and whatnot, except he has a completely black leather mask, and there's only like two gray lines where his like mouth and eyes are, so you don't see any like facial stuff whatsoever as like his non-Titan version, which is really weird. Or Venom, whichever it is, I always forget. I always get the two mixed up. So it then cuts to Batman. He's playing with kind of like a mech suit where he like has some goggles on and he's like moving his arm and a big robotic arm moves and whatnot. And Alfred comes in holding a plate of nachos, and Batman accidentally knocks him over, and they have to like address the wound because he got scraped up. But it's so funny. You have like a younger Batman who he's so juvenile because like the thought of Alfred serving Batman nachos is just so funny to me. I don't know why. I just find that hilarious. And then you find out Bruce's favorite meal is enchiladas mole. So maybe he's just a Mexican guy, but I don't know. You always see Batman as like, oh, I'm gonna have this oatmeal and this steak and this like all this health stuff, and seeing Batman eat nachos, I don't know, it just puts a smile on my face, even though you can't see it. Um, so they're getting all uh, situated and whatnot, and then suddenly the Batwave, his like kind of police monitor goes off, and turns out there's an armed truck bank robbery going on. So he goes to see what's happening. There's a big hole cut in the truck, and the police officers are tied up, and the money's all there. And Batman's like, "Oh shit, this is a trap for me." And he turns around, and there's Bane, and him and Bane get to scuffling, and Batman, it's so neat. Like he moves like a fucking speedster. Honestly, there's like one part where you like see him like rush over, and you see like boom, like right behind. I'm explaining it terribly, but he moves like otherworldly, and I like that a lot about this series of how this action is so fast paced. It really is like Batman is a legend. Like he's like not even human, you know. Say you get to fighting, and Batman, he's kind of got the upper hand, but then Bane, he turns on his, I can't remember if it's Venom or Titan. I want to say it's Venom. I really want to say it's Venom. So he turns that on, and it's definitely different because usually it's always green. This version, it's like yellow. So he turns it on, and he turns into like this big, bulking red Hulk. Like it is funny. His upper torso is way bigger than his fucking lower torso. Like his legs are probably like this big, but then his arms are like this big. And I'm like, God damn, like he's so big, his hands can literally like wrap all the way around Batman's waist to pick him up. So that version of Bane proves to be way more of a fucking problem, and he like takes Batman and throws him into a brick wall, and a whole bunch of bricks come down on him. And then he just kind of doesn't check to see if he's dead or finishes the job. And then he says, okay, with Batman gone, now Gotham's mine. So he fucks off, and then the two detectives that are on Batman's case show up. I forget their names again, but doesn't matter. And they're going over to where the pile of bricks are, but there's no Batman because Batman's hiding in like the bridge raptors right above them. So they're super smart, I will say. They know exactly what to do because they're like, all right, guys, we need to put an all points bulletin out on any hospital in the area. We're looking for suspects that are completely fractured because they deduced, oh, if Bane threw Batman through this brick wall, yeah, that motherfucker is definitely in bad condition. So during all this, Alfred, he gets called to pick up Bruce, and he does so. And he insists on taking Bruce to the hospital, and Bruce is like, no, Alfred, please, just take me to the Batcave. I'll be fine. And Alfred's like, I'm driving. It's my call. So he takes him to the hospital, but he sees there's a bunch of cops there waiting. And he's like, damn it. So he takes him back to the Belfry, or maybe the Batcave, either or. So Alfred's working on him, and you have this nice moment where Alfred's like, it's always a bad omen when I'm called to pick you up. And then there's a flashback of Bruce holding what's left of his mother's pearls, and then Alfred coming up to him and be like, Master Bruce, I'll never be able to replace your parents, but I promise I'll always be there by your side. And it's really sweet. Like, the relationship between Batman and Alfred, I always hold to such high regards because that is Alfred's kid. He is not just the butler. That is Batman's father right there. I mean, obviously not biological, but you know what I get. So, Bruce does like pull together, and over the next couple days, Bane, he's like going all about the city, breaking into bank vaults, like tearing into a whole bunch of shit. The police are completely unable to stop him because he's still in his like big form. And Batman, even though he's still recovering, he goes down to like the Belfry, and he's trying to work on that mech suit that was mentioned earlier. And Alfred, he threatens to quit, mostly because he doesn't want to see Bruce push himself to the point of death, which I think like more adaptations of Batman need to acknowledge what Batman doing is selfish to Alfred. What he's doing altogether isn't selfish, but what Alfred goes through night after night, wondering if he's gonna come home, wondering if like when the communications are out, what's there, coming back, bruised, battered, broken, just for him to get out and do it all over again. Like, Batman, I mean, Alfred loves Bruce very dearly, and to see him do that to himself, like by choice, it's hard on him. So it is nice to just see a lot of character put into Alfred, I will say. But yeah, so eventually Bruce has had enough, and he's worked on the mech suit fully. So he finally confronts Bane, and the two go at it. Bane's still pretty superior. At one point, he like rips the mech's arm off, and then it comes to a fight where like he's about to rip off the head to unmask the Batman, and then Bruce, he takes like an electric cable that's just like gotten loose from Bane fucking up the suit, and he takes it, and like here's Batman. Imagine I'm Batman and this is Bane's hand. Bane's like has his hand right about here, and then Batman takes the cable and puts it directly on where the venom is, and his entire body goes into shock, and then he just passes out and turns back into normal. So Bruce is pretty much in an absolutely useless suit, And he's like, Alfred, I need you to pick me up again. And the cops pick up Bane. He was unconscious when they got him, and everything's right as rain. And Batman he ends it with getting another call and going off to fight again without the suit. But yeah, that was Traction. I don't like what they did with Bane. I don't know. There was no reason for him to just fuck around with Gotham, and also why he didn't like make sure to finish the job. He's like, oh, okay, I just threw you into a pile of bricks. Well, if you're not dead, your spirit's probably dead. So I don't know. I didn't care for it. His buffed out versions weird. I mean, his skin turns just red all over red. It's literally like a Hulk that skipped leg day, honestly. And then his regular version with like not seeing the eyes or the mouth, that's just creepy. If they keep him like that, I would be okay with that, honestly. But yeah, this episode wasn't my cup of tea, mostly because how Bane was utilized. I don't think it was like the best it could have been. But we get some good stuff with Alfred and Bruce together. So yeah, for me, it's definitely not a 7. It's not a 1. It's not a 6. It's not a 2. So I'm between 3, 4, and 5. And I think a 4 is fair, just right down the middle. I don't really have. I like all the negatives and all the positives just kind of cancel each other out. I'm kind of neutral one way or the other. But yeah, still fine episode, I guess. So that was Traction. Bye bye.